I'm that girl who knows that when you try to control a situation, it truly is because you're so insecure of an outcome that you may like, you may completely stifle the situation. And so, welcome back. This is an interesting experience for me because I feel like my teams have been waking me up at 3 a.m. the last few mornings. And right now I'm looking at the clock and it is 3:33 a.m. Fantastic. Happy 1st of February for me. And it seems like they want me to just kind of declutter out what they're giving me. They sort of seem to wake me up and they just give me all this information. And instead of me just sitting there, laying there, waiting for a more appropriate time for me to get up out of my bed from my perception, maybe I'm controlling the time I should be getting up and doing these sessions. I have discovered I started to get into a little routine and sort of doing them at my 7 a.m. And now I'm realizing that I should just be focusing on this work when they call for me, and when they wake me up at 3 a.m., I'm of service. So what they wanted me to discuss with you is people's behaviors. We know that we can see adults, and what we are seeing from their behaviors is sometimes their trapped trauma of emotions that is still making them act like children in some regards, not always and all the time. But I want you to recall now your time in your life where you've either tried to control someone or a situation, or vice versa, you've been controlled upon in a situation. And they gave me the experience of reminding me of this in terms of, I was talking to a friend and he was recalling back his own life journey, and he was thinking about this girlfriend that he loved, truly, truly, truly loved her. And yet she was so super afraid and jealous of losing him, and super afraid of losing him and losing his love. I think he was saying they were at a restaurant and he was polite to the waitress and she lost her freaking mind. I think he was saying she was like beating him up and like slapping him around the face and really super angry about him potentially having a friendship or even maybe flirting with someone else, and her insecurities just came out and she lost her mind, which really upset him because he couldn't understand why she wasn't able to see his true full love and how much he appreciated and adored her. Because she was seeing through her own insecurities, that was a huge threat. And she was so scared of losing him and that friendship and that relationship and what he meant to her, that she became very violent. And obviously that's really truly what she would never want to have done that, but because of her fears, she's causing these reactions to happen. And ultimately it's almost like facing your fears, isn't it? She was so afraid to lose him that everything he did, and the world, how they interacted with him, it made her feel very threatened that she was going to lose him. And so she didn't face her insecurities with that. And so she actually manifested that relationship to break because it was just too toxic. She just keeps doing these routines and these actions and behaviors to him because she just was never secure enough. And it seemed that doesn't matter how much he loved her and supported her and wanted to do right for her, she still was afraid that the world would take their friendship and a relationship away from her. And so what's going on for her? She doesn't love herself enough. She is holding the identity of love onto him, and she's trying to control the situation. And so anytime she gets triggered, she will react in a physical and a very angry, violent way, which is heartbreaking for all those situations, because when people lash out in anger, when people lash out in a violent manner, they've really truly lost control and they're so afraid that they're lashing out in a big reaction. So we had to think, where was it that she was showing she could not love herself? who taught her that the only way that she could get love is through someone else. And so when she was constantly using him as her love source, her whole world, her whole balance, her whole hope, her whole future rested on him being in her life for her to feel safe and protected and loved. So much going on there, and you only hope that she learned from that experience. And I know that as he is unpacking that crazy girlfriend who he absolutely adored, but she was so scarily violent that he was afraid that she actually may have done something that may have exited him or something else. So the reason why they want to keep talking to me about control is it's almost like another form of fear. And so it's kind of like a reaction to fear. So as I was sort of talking about how I wanted to control my children to hold my hands and to be really close to me while we were walking on footpaths near the street, I was controlling them because of my own fears, even though they weren't actually ever looking like they were going to ever run on the road. Even if they sort of had a little slight direction of a little waddle, that would put me into a panic. But they know that roads are for cars, and they very much know that it's not where we're walking. And yet, because I was coming from that fear-based experience, I was very sensitive to that situation. And of course, after I did that, facing my fear challenge and really seeing how much my life was being triggered by that experience, then I could notice the lull when I got an opportunity to be with my children again near a road and noticing, oh, wow, I would have reacted to this. Oh, this is when I would have reacted to that. And so I'm going through this stage as you're unpacking these life lessons, is noticing now the difference, the different reactions, the absence of reactions, and the inner peace and the perspective of it. So even though it wasn't fantastically fun during facing my fears, because I put myself right into that core fear situation, I have truly been able to honor it, truly be able to unpack it and heal from it and see all of the ripple out effects of having that fear. And as I was talking to someone about facing their own fears, it was another step that I realized what needs to happen, and I wanted to share that with you as well, is that when we notice a fear, and instead of being disappointed with ourselves to have this fear, or oh, that's so silly, why am I doing this? When we face it and look at it and then question the purpose, the lessons, and the experiences for it, the next step I realized that one could do to really help with this process is love that your body and minds try to protect you and your situation so much that they've created this ongoing dialogue of this fear-based narrative. And so it's actually okay to address our fears and face them. It actually is okay to respect that we've had these fears in the past that we're working on, and we validate the reasons why we had those fears in the first place. People have fears because they're trying to protect themselves from something. And everyone deserves to be respected, and we deserve to respect our fears, not hold on to them because we've grown them and we're like maturing and processing it and unpacking it. But on the journey of healing from our fears, we must fully put it to bed in terms of respecting why we had that fear. Instead of judging ourselves and thinking, how silly, how could I not notice that, blah, 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 actually look at it. I can love the fact that my body and my mind wanted to protect my children from being damaged. And I was coming from a place of what I perceived as protection and good. Now I realize that that was not the best for all. And now I realize that I can relax into it and have more faith and trust in our teams and more faith and trust in my children, to know that this is something that I can live through and not manifest, not create. And even though I couldn't create and manifest the car accidents in itself, I was creating the emotions around it constantly when we were in that situation. So I just had a little revelation yesterday about just truly honoring and loving that fear. It was not because I was trying to control and manipulate, just like the girlfriend. I mean, she was trying to control and manipulate that boyfriend because she was afraid. So she has to love and respect why she was afraid of her insecurities. She loved that relationship so much. It meant everything to her. So the thought of, for a split second, losing it because of some other woman who was a restaurant service person, this is, it just was constantly showing you how much the relationship should have meant to her. And it did mean to her, but she was trying to control it so severely that her reactions were coming from almost an unloving situation. It was too much. And so for me, I know that some parents can helicopter their children in many different ways. It may not be the whole time. And I would sort of say at a reach, I could possibly say I was helicoptering my children when we were walking. If I had to be fully honest, it was just a heightened experience. It wasn't a joyful embracing, because I just wanted to get where we were going and just know we were safe to that location. So it's the journey. So for what I was trying to express is, when you have overcome certain situations and you faced your fears, it really is quite a nice thing to have gratitude and love for that fear, because when you can fully accept what you've gone through, I'm not saying love that fear to keep that fear. I'm saying love and honor that fear, that emotional trigger you went through, just to fully heal from it. Because when we still think it's bad that we have fears and, we don't appreciate our reactions to the fears, we have to accept it all. And while we may not have appreciated all our knee-jerk reactions, we have to be grateful for those lessons. So if you can just have that final healing step of loving and being grateful for all of the lessons that you get. And the big ones are kind of easier to navigate into because they're so emotionally reactive. And it is just a really interesting experience to fully unpack that and even maybe mansplain it. But my epiphany yesterday about just actually honoring the fear and giving it love is so easy when you're not in fear with it. So when you fully released it. So we have to be grateful for all our lessons, even the hard ones. And sometimes it's too overwhelming to look at any inner work because we are still convinced that things are not going our way and that life is so super hard. And that is a perception and the mindset of someone who is in victim. And so we know that when we talk to their higher selves, they know everything, and so they can see that we hold on to the fears and hold on to the emotions way too intensively. And they don't need to have proof or confirmation that they exist or that we exist or what is the real purpose and experiences for life, because they know exactly what's happening. So unfortunately, we have many steps to get over to be able to have the luxury of that mindset. So we have to have faith and trust that they're even there doing their thing, and that we will be there with them when we shift ourselves. And then So people are not really wanting to step into that trust because they're still in 3D. They still don't see their ships that they're talking about. They don't see the new Earth. They don't see all of these things that they're waiting for to fully, completely surrender and trust that everything that we're experiencing for humanity right now is to get everyone ready for the shift to be able to move forward to either new Earth or another home planet or source or somewhere else that's in your life contract that is the best for you. So this is the grand awakening, and it is extraordinary times and so triggering times as we must face what we're going through. Many people are so pushed and triggered and squeezed into having to identify and acknowledge some of these really hard situations right now to force them to deal with conflict, to force them to speak their truths, to force them to face their fears, to force them to speak out about something, a narrative that is very strong and definitely mainstream. So those people who are speaking up and out in a different direction, it takes a lot of courage and strength. And I do know I have a really great advantage point of being able to channel and know for myself 100% that we have these amazing teams that are supporting us constantly. But I also have a lot of incredible clients who are doctors and nurses, and I have many that work in the drug field industry. I have a lot of amazing clients who have got professional skill sets in amazing industries. And I know when I talk to their subconsciouses, I get all the confirmation of what I need to be able to fully trust and see what is really going on, what people are thinking that they are getting away with in terms of certain industries. And so that is man trying to control and force man. And of course, we know that they're all humanoids have different souls. From different collectives. And so we can be in a wonderful room of professional people, and you can have Palladian star seeds there, and you can have Victorian star seeds there, and you can also have reptilian star seeds there, and all is well because you're all professionals in that field, but you're all working for your own collectives and you all have your own agendas. And so man, because you're all still human in this human life, you've still got your own agendas, which are all played out. So when I can talk to all of my clients from different industry fields to be able to know what is the true motives for each individual industry, not just through the client's perspective, but also through the subconsciouses, I get a profound insight into these. And I feel very fortunate to have all the confirmation that I know what it looks like for man and earth right now. And then what the subconscious has to share with us about relieving our fears, because truly they control everything, even though we're afraid that humans can truly control and manipulate us. And they have been for so long. But when you can fully respect and trust the metaphysics, and you can fully trust our teams are there working very hard and diligently, we can relax. They love us so much. We don't have to go into knee-jerk reactions and fight and make sure that they are going to protect us. We're not that insecure girlfriend, and they are not our boyfriends who love us and we can't see their love. Or is it? Because sometimes it feels like that I see so many people reactive and so scared that the love and they're not going to be protected, all this sort of stuff and I know that they are invisible, but where is the faith that you have? Where is the faith and the trust that it's very purposeful. We can see it very clearly now, what is going on in this world and why. And, it makes me really curious when I talk to these people who don't know the why, who don't know the information that we do, when I keep asking them, so what do you think this is all for? What is the agenda here? Obviously, all they really know is this dark agenda that they are terrified is going to win. And so when they don't see any hope apart from raising up against this dark agenda. That is their goal. And so, they're going to be fantastically surprised when they realize that was just all on purpose for them to find their communities, find their collectives, and merge together and stand in unity. And that is wonderful, because that's going to raise their frequency vibrations. They're going to have like for likeness, and they're going to have a common goal. And this is fantastic. And this is how humanity needs to be able to embrace itself. So I see it as a really beautiful thing. I don't believe that anything that is happening to humanity at this time is evil, because I know that even the challenging things are pushing us towards our better moral compass. And so we have faith and trust that we know the difference. We have the faith and trust that we can choose the things that are the best for us. And while we accept all other people's choices, we know that it is all played out, and it is all playing out for people to have these profound experiences, because you can't just fake these emotions in a simulation on another planet. You've got this incredible density, you've got this incredible experience, you've got these incredible events happening all around the world, and these are purposeful right now for all of these profound, incredibly challenging, but also just beyond enlightening what is happening. So I'm very passionate about this, and I wish I could share with you more personal examples and specifics, because I know that would help with explaining what is so purposeful right now. But as you know, I have mentioned that there is big things coming that is going to help tremendously, and that this is going to be all worth it. But right now, we're all experiencing the lessons that need to play out. And we never die. Our souls never die. I was playing with my children, and yesterday, and we found a cicada shell. And they've always looked a bit creepy, but they're just so fascinating for preschool children. And so, it was this bug, this larvae, this bug, and then it, sort of had this metamorphosis experience, and now it's flown up and it's super noisy in another tree somewhere. But while we have this shell, it just reminded me, it's not dead. And while we have this shell, when this shell is empty, we haven't died. We have just merged with wings and are very noisy somewhere else, maybe. But it is just, nature has proven to us and shown us how we can evolve. And while it's not like for like, we're not going to grow wings and turn into a butterfly or a cicada. I'm not too sure what the name of the evolved cicada is, but if you like the analogy of being the caterpillar and the butterfly, think of the butterfly as our crystalline bodies, very light. So it's not physically skinny or fat light. It is truly light. We shimmer, we're an essence. And so we're raising our frequency to a higher vibration that doesn't have the density and the matter such as our carbon-based bodies. So when we merge out and we shift and leave our carbon-based bodies behind, it will look like that chrysalis shell in some regards. I mean, you know what death looks like. You know that the soul isn't in that home anymore. That soul is evacuated, and you can tell that that is an empty shell. It is an empty carcass, if you will, whatever name you want to. But we're having to realize that, and trust that when we leave these bodies, it is not the end of our experiences. Our consciousness goes with our soul essences, our light bodies, and then we do other things. And we will be able to reflect on this life that we have and the experiences that we've had for this grand awakening on this planet, knowing that we have to encourage humanity to find their unity, find their strength, find their voice, find their empowerment, and whatever that looks like, regardless of what narrative they believe in. They have to have faith and hope that they are protected, they are safe, they are heard. And so we don't have to rally with our friends that are against your own personal narrative, because there are so many people that have got our narrative that we believe in. And so, respect those who are on a different journey, because they're on a different path. They have a different belief system. And while I personally like to base my belief systems on facts and experiences that are undeniable, not everyone can be me, and we can't look for like for like. We are unique in our own experiences, and so when we are opening ourselves up to the world to be able to have connections with other people, they may be at a different level of the journey. And so we can use that as a blessing to be able to ponder and reflect on our own personal journey, to be able to identify where they are at this time. And I understand that so many people are super heartbroken and confused why so many of their long friends that they have had suddenly now through this awakening, they don't resonate with, and they're going in completely different belief systems, say, for example, the virus. And this has been a really heartbreaking emotion for many people because they can't understand why. I mean, even in Dolores Cannon's books, she was talking about how you just don't resonate with certain people anymore. And so while it's got the healthy excuse of different belief systems of the virus, what's really going on there is that your teams are sort of separating you to be able to go and grow in different directions. And so you're going to find new people, potentially your actual other soul families, and you're merging. And unfortunately, it looks like a lot of family breakups and a lot of disconnect from really close companions, as everyone's kind of attuning into their new directions as they're going. Remember, some people are still going to different 3D planets, and other people are going to 5D planets. And the mindsets and the vibrations and the perceptions of life are very different. So all you can do when there is differences is just truly love and respect them and yourselves, and know that it is unavoidable what is coming. And we have to have profound acceptance and be able to use our times wisely. And I have found it really enjoyable, instead of focusing on the dramas of the 3D, because there is so much of the dramas that are attempting us to go into play in that emotional pool of density. But I actually would prefer now to kind of just dive into my own inner work closet and see if there is any more fears that I have, and what am I still focusing and unpacking, because at this time we can process things so fast. And so it's a time for you to be safe, to let your control of your inner work go. Open that key. Look at those fears. Look at those insecurities. Look what you're still trying to seek out for the world, and what you're seeking from others. And this is a perfect example of what you're truly seeking for yourself. So remember, no one can love you unless you love yourself, because everyone could fully love you, but until you can love yourself, you will never, ever be able to see their love or feel their love. So it's all within. We have to master it all within. And then when you actually do love yourself, you don't actually take from others, because you actually don't thrive and are thirsty for their attention and their love, because you've got it all within you. And then you're able to then project out that love to others. So it is incredible. We sort of, because of our triggers and our defaults, we've all been needy at some point to grab and take from others, because we have been so disempowered. We just didn't realize we could give it to ourselves. And self-love is profound. Treating ourselves to some kindness and some love and some acceptance, some forgiveness and some strength and encouragement and praise and gratitude is so profound and so easy to do. And yet so many people sit there alone in isolation, feeling like they can't get it from anyone. And so they just feel empty. And this is an opportunity for them to be able to give it all to themselves rather than trying to manipulate it from others. So marvelous times, marvelous times. And when we truly can step into trust and faith that everything is purposeful, when we truly can step into trust and faith, saying the same two words at one time is not possible. When we truly step into trust and faith that everything is a lesson for us to unpack and notice and see our emotional triggers going on and how we feel about a certain thing, when we can be honest about ourselves of how we feel about a certain thing, that's when we have profound growth. Because when we're ignoring our own feelings, when we can't even express to ourselves how we truly feel about a situation, why are we suppressing ourselves from ourselves? So there we go. Oh gosh. Now I just saw the time. Sorry about that. I hope that this was helpful for you to have a different perspective. Again, I always say to you, because I seriously do wish you all the best and all the wonderful things that the world has to offer. And when we can master all these emotions and be able to see it from the bigger perspective, truly, 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 that's when the inner peace just shines upon us. And we have overfelt things for so long. Now let's master it and empower ourselves to learn those lessons and grow from it, and then be able to support more people with our love. Because right now, everyone needs so much love. And when we remind them that it's all within themselves and that they're going to feel so much better when they can trust and love themselves, the world's going to get that bigger step forward to the evolution that it so desperately needs. Love you guys. Have a fantastic day.